material for the Knoxville National. They're lean, they're mean, they're 700 horses, a man and machine. They're full wide, green flag, showtime, the Knoxville Nationals are green.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another night of On the Pole Racing here at Fleeger Farm TV and Coast to Coast Racing Network. We get everything situated here. Let's go trackside here for tonight.
Hey, just a heads up, Adam, whenever you switched over to the race, it cut your mic off for some reason. Like right when you did that scene trend.
All fixed now. Thank you. Alrighty. There we go. Now you guys can hear me. We got practice going on here tonight for the race here at Eldora. Kurt Statzer in that number 218 out there at the moment. Got a few more moments here of practice as they will go qualifying on the hour. So should be some great racing here tonight in the 358s. As you see Mike Brewer out there, heading up there to the number 51 there of Clay Christopherson at 39, or 390 rather, Mike Brewer running that high line. And you're going to see that a lot tonight, them running up there against that outside wall as they run here around Eldora. That is one of the quicker lines. I like to, I kind of nicknamed it for myself. I kind of gave it the nickname the Lernerville line, as that is the quickest way around Lernerville as well. It's up there on the edge. And at Lernerville, you're really hanging out on the edge. There's no outside wall to really keep you on the racetrack. The only walls there are is way deep in turn 3 and 4 up against the pits, and also along the front stretch straightaway. There's a little bit section of wall there at Lernerville. We're here at Eldora as we're heading down here through turns 3 and 4. You see up there Mike Brewer up there at the top going around Christopherson, as Christopherson's down there on the inside. Going to see what he can do there. He's down there on the bottom side of the racetrack. They were working down here. There you see Joseph Grandy. Mike Brewer. He's back out there on the front stretch. Clay Christopherson down there on the inside, getting a few more laps in before we get on into qualifying, which should be happening any moment now. We get set for a Thursday Night Thunder here at Coast to Coast Racing Network. Pretty sure drivers' meeting taking place right now. Thank you there, Big Red, as we get ready here for tonight's race at Eldora. Everybody's getting set up here, getting the final touches there on their machines. We get set, ready to roll here this wonderful Thursday night for the 358 and Big Block Modifieds first. And then for those that are watching on Fligger Farm TV, be sure to catch us over at Coast to Coast Racing Network as we head out. And we're going to go racing the Pro Late models. So if you're watching here at Fligger Farm TV, be sure to switch over to the Coast to Coast Racing Network. As there we go, we got the checker flag here in practice, heading into qualifying right now. We'll see who the first driver is out on track. Looks to be the 639 of Dylan Kinsey. Rolling down that back straightaway into corner number 3 and 4 on his outlap. Before he comes across and takes that green flag for his qualifying time. Down there across the bottom of your screen, you'll see the qualifying times there. If it goes pink, that's great. That means they're above the time. If it's green, they're doing okay. If it's yellow, yeah, it needs some work. So right now, everybody's green at the moment. As they're coming off other times, as we got a 16.286 by Trevor Guru. They come down here into corner number 3 and 4 once again at 639 of Dylan Kinsey. Currently sitting, Kinsey is, if I can get the board to stay put enough, bouncing around. Looks like Kinsey's right now in 4th with a 16.375. We try to see who else is out on track as the times are just clicking in here. You see them there. There's, you see the 21 of John Dubai. We're going down through off the corner here. The Moranos are down there 20th and 21st. So a little slower here tonight. Hopefully they'll be able to pick something up here through the heat races. That is what's coming next. We get them finished up qualifying here. Looks like Scott Riome is the last one that needs qualified, which he does so. And we're going to be Clay Christopherson. I don't know what was up with his time as he's cleared out at 29.051. So I'm not sure what happened there to Christopherson as he did not quite have the time that he needed to work his way up into the field better. That, or maybe he's just anticipating staying out of the way tonight. Heat number 1 on the board. Here's your grid. Randall Dixon starting out there in front with Sam Bachman starting in second. Brian Moore here's in third with Kelly Wheeler in fourth. Kurt Schatzer on the inside, starting fifth, inside row number 3, that is. Brandon Dittmer, that was outside in that number 83. Mike Brewer in that 7th position, inside row number 4 with John Morano to his outside of that 033. Clay Christopherson in 9th. That is your heat number 1. As they get set to take the grid here. Everybody's lined up. I think everybody's there. Everybody's there. As we get set onto the racetrack they go. Always a lot of great looking cars out here. As they roll down that backstretch. Kurt Satzer there in 218. The 83 of Brandon Dittmer back here. One more lap around before they turn them loose. Eight laps the distance here for heat number 1. Or it's 7 laps. Oh, we'll figure it out when they go across the line. Leadfoot Mafia has their driver out there on the front row with Randall Dixon. And his outside, FTM, Full Throttle Motorsports, has one of their drivers, Sam Bachman. Pace car is off. They're coming out of 4. Green flag is soon to be in the air. They hit that loud pedal down here in the corner number 1 they go. Side by side, Randall Dixon down there on the inside. You got that 007 of Sam Bachman up there on the high side. Down around, down to that backstretch. Bachman getting out to an early lead, coming down in front of Randall Dixon, as Randall Dixon now falls back to second. Kelly Wheeler and Brian Moore back there fighting for second and third. Down there way on the inside is Mike Brewer, as he's attempting to go 3 wide here into corner number 1. Side by side, they are coming out of 2. Kurt Schatzer looking to see if he can make any movement there. Is that FTM machine of Mike Brewer down there on the inside, looking to see if he can make any movement. Tight racing going on here in heat number 1 as they come back down here into corner number 1, coming out of 2. Mike Brewer down there on the inside in 5th. You got Randall Dixon up there in 2nd right now. And Kelly Wheeler there in 3rd as they come rolling here off of 3. Everybody now back out single file. You see Morano there. He's got company as he's down there. He was inside as Brandon Dittmer as Morano falls back into about 9th as Christopherson gets around him on the outside. Down here in the corner number 3 and 4. Brian Moore gets up there now in the 4th position down there on the inside, but he's going to fall back once again here as he battles out with the 218 of Kurt Satzer up there on the high side. Kurt Satzer stuck behind the 55 of Brian Moore as they work down here in the corner number 3. Out of 4 they go. 4 to go. Sam Bachman out front, but Randall Dixon's back out there as he gets underneath it, Sam, as they work down the backstretch side by side. Kelly Wheeler also there now as they work down into corner number 3 and 4. Brian Moore back and forth. What a battle it is for that front spot as Bachman will hold on to it, coming down here into corner number 1. 2 to go as they come across the line here onto the backstretch. Sam Bachman out front. Randall Dixon there 2nd. Kelly Wheeler there in 3rd. High flying action here at Eldora for this dirt track race tonight. They roll down here through the front stretch. Kurt Schatzer up down there on the bottom side in that 218, 3 wide there. Sam Bachman out front. He's going to come down here. Last time through off of the corner. As they come off, it's going to be Sam Bachman as your winner as they come down across. Everybody most likely single file. John Morano finishing there in 8th. We'll go and get the results here in just a moment. Results for heat number 1. And it's going to go to Sam Bachman, Randall Dixon in second, Kelly Wheeler there third, Brian Moore in fourth, Mike Brewer fifth, Clay Christopherson finishing out in sixth, Kurt Schatzer there seventh, John Morano in eighth, with Brandon Dittmer finishing out in ninth. Grid for Heat 2 is going to look a little bit like this. Jeff Barker on the front in the pole position with Alex Pomerleau in a second. Dylan Kinsey in third. Trevor Guru there in fourth. Joseph Grandy there in fifth. Matt Barber in sixth. Bob DeGood coming in here in seventh. And Anthony Morano there in eighth. Everybody get lined up. One more lap to go before we turn them loose here. As you see, Jeff Barker is your control car in that 513. Got the 397 of Alex Pomerleau there in second. Dylan Kinsey there third. Trevor Guru there in fourth as they roll down that backstretch here under the lights at Eldora. Pace car is going to roll off, and we're going to get green flag racing. Off of 4. Loud pedal hit. They're down here across the start-finish line in the corner number 1. The 513 and Jeff Barker down there on the inside. Alex Pomerleau up there on the outside, making one heck of a run as he gets that thing dialed up, and in the corner number 3 and 4 they go. Up there on top of Jeff Barker, who's on the bottom side. Here comes the 639 of Dylan Kinsey. He was pretty quick there as well as he's working down there on the inside there of Jeff Barker, trying to get up there. And look out, here comes the 75 of Trevor Guru as he's working up there through the spots now, getting a little bit into the back of the 513, hanging on to it there as they come out of turn number 3. Dylan Kinsey down there on the bottom side. Alex Pomerleau out there in front. Dylan Kinsey there third. As you got that 75 of Trevor Guru working down through off of corner number 3 and 4. That 75T up there on the top side. 513 there of Jeff Barker working down through that backstretch. And now they come back down in here to 3 and 4. Everybody still a tight pack here. What some racing we got going on here tonight. Both of these heats so far have really put on some really tight racing. 75 of Trevor Guru now up to third as he's looking to see if he can get around the leader down there, around Jeff Barker for second. He's trying to get that thing dialed up down there on the inside. Look out, here comes Matt Barber down there on the inside at number 16. Anthony Morano, little still hanging back there. That's Bob DeGoods rounding out your field in 8th right now. 3 to go here as they come out of 4. 3 wide there for 2nd through 4th. Single filed it once again. Here comes that 75 making another run to the bottom side of Jeff Barker. Cannot quite get something happen there, but he's got to be careful. And Joseph Grandy there in 4th. He's making a run as well. Almost got to his outside to where he couldn't come all the way up as they work down the back or front straightaway in the corner number 1. Side by side there you see the Kinsey there. Everybody battling it out. Alex Pomerleau out front. And that 397 had a great run there in the early going. Got himself out front. Trevor Guru there for second. Jeff Barker third. And we'll have to wait for all the results to come filing in here to see who we got finishing. All right. Results of heat number 2. Alex Pomerleau out front, finishing first. Trevor Guru there in second. Jeff Barker finishing third. Joseph Brandy there in 4th. Matt Barber there 5th. Dylan Kinsey in 6th. Anthony Morano there 7th. Bob DeGood in 8th. Starting grid for heat number 3. Mason Hine out there in front with Glenn Sharp there in second. Dean Reynolds will roll off third tonight with Zach Chapman to his outside there in 4th. Steven Bixler rolls off in 5th. Chase Matsko in 6th. John Dubai there in 7th. Scott Riome in 8th. That is your starting grid here tonight. What a move we got going on here. Everybody's dialed up here. We're getting ready for heat number 3. As that front car, Mason Hines says so, we're going to go flat out here for the start. Pace car off, coming out of 4. Down the front stretch, in at corner number 1. Side by side, Hines getting a real good start there on the bottom, bringing with him Dean Reynolds at 99. And Glenn Sharp struggling a little bit up there on the high side as that FTM Motorsports machine of Dean Reynolds gets down there. Oh, a little bit of tag air going on there as they come 3 wide off of corner number 4. That's going to shuffle Chase Matsko back into about the 7th position as they come here off of 4. Off of 2. Matsko then gets passed by Dubai as they still battle it out up here for about 2nd through 4th. Coming here off the corner. You see that 75 there of Steven Bixler down there on the bottom side. As they now roll off, you got that 72 Zach Chapman down there as here comes that 99 finally getting ahead of steam up there on the high side. Oh no, they get a touch there with the 72 of Zach Chapman as he's down there on the inside, rolling around here on the bottom side, up off the corner, down here in the corner number 1 again. Chase Matsko rolling around back there in that number 26 machine. He's number 2 on the scoreboard. If we had those numbers up, I guess I probably should have those numbers up, right? Wonder why car numbers aren't showing. We work down the front straightaway here. Mason Hine there in front. Dean Reynolds there 2nd. Steven Bixler here 3rd. Scott Riome in 4th. As they roll down here out of 5th. There we go. Now we got them. Car numbers up there on the corner of your screen now. Hine coming down there in front with Dean Reynolds hot on his tail. Steve Bixler coming out of the corner. Scott Riome back here in 4th. Zach Chapman 5th. Final lap here as they now go into corner number 1. Reynolds down there on the bottom side, giving it all he's got to try to get around Hine. Down here into corner number 3 they go. Side by side, and Reynolds getting a run down there on the inside, but is it enough to hold off Hine? As Hine gets a better run off the top side, Hine will get the win. Coming there off of 4, down across the front straightaway. Dean Reynolds there 2nd. Steven Bixler there 3rd. We'll get back with our results here as they come in. Have a nice turnout here tonight. As we got heat 3 here. Mason Hine, Dean Reynolds there in 2nd. That is your finishing order. Steven Bixler in 3rd. Scott Riome finishes 4th. Zach Chapman 5th. Chase Matsko in 6th. John Dubai in 7th with Glenn Sharp in 8th. Alrighty, here we go. Starting out in your consolation. It's going to be Mike Brewer rolling off in 1st. Matt Barber in 2nd. Zach Chapman here for 3rd. Clay Christopherson there in 4th. Dylan Kinsley in 5th. Chase Matsko 6th. Kurt Schatzer will roll off in 7th with Anthony Morano 8th. John Dubai in 9th. John Morano in 10th. Bob DeGood there in 11th. Glenn Sharp in 12th. I don't think we go beyond that. Just double. Oh, no, we do have one more past that. That's Brandon Dittmer in 13th. So 13 cars in your consolation. They come here off of the corner behind the pace car. Going down here out of turn number 2. 2 laps before we go green. This out lap and then one more time around. At 39, Mike Brewer having a great run so far tonight. He's leading this consolation race, which some of you might also know it as a B main. Last chance qualifier. It goes by many names. As they roll here off of turn number 4. Glenn Sharp not taking the grid. They have a battle of 12 drivers trying to get into the main show. Rolling out of turn 4. Pace car you see is going down on the pit road. They're getting ready. They're hitting that loud pedal coming out of 4. Down across the start-finish line they go. Mike Brewer down there on the inside getting a pretty good restart. Scooby-Doo down there in second. As they come down there off of corner number 2. There comes the 16 of Matt Barber up in the second. Oh, no, getting into the 39. Ends up backing off. Great save there by Mike Brewer. They go up down here through 3 and 4, back out onto the front stretch. As everybody's going 3 wide there for second through third, or second through fourth. As Brewer getting a great run up there off the high side. Zach Chapman up to second. Now back into third as Christopherson's there in second. Barber there you see, there's 3 wide. That is for third through fifth. So tight racing going on. We should have an exciting A-main here tonight as they roll down here off of 2, back around onto that backstretch. There comes Bob DeGood there in 10th. Brandon Dittmer back there in 11th. Coming down through off of turn number 4. Brewer out front. Clay Christopherson there second. Zach Chapman third. As they come on down through there, you see that 16 there of Matt Barber rolling on through. As everybody's looking great down here in the corner number 3 and 4. Down there underneath Dittman or Barber, that's going to be Kinsey as he tries to work his way up. Anthony Morano, he's up 1 spot as he's trying to get that car to work on the bottom lane. And everybody else is up there in a little bit more of a tack. Up there a few lanes off the bottom here around corner number 3 and 4. Brewer out there in front. Christopherson's trying to see if he can get his car to work a little bit down there, a lane underneath Brewer, which he does coming there off of the corner. Does he have the momentum? Looks like he might to try to slide it here in turn number 3, which he will do. Does Brewer have a comeback down there on the bottom side as they work here off of the corner? Not quite, but he goes back down there to the bottom side here in 1 and 2. And he will slide it back up there in front of Christopherson. Christopherson now does the crossover down here through the back stretch. Now he's going to slide it down in front. And here comes Brewer. He's going to see if he can cross it over once again. Coming down there along the pit wall. He's going to be down there. And he, oh man, what a race here we have as 3 to go here in the 358 division here tonight before we get into the big blocks. Around Eldora here tonight. Mike Brewer down here on the bottom side. He's going to sling it one more time. Oh boy, what a race out here at these front 2 as everybody else is trying to get up here. Morano now up there in the 6th. He's there underneath Dylan Kinsey as they try to work here off of 2 into the 3. Around here off of 4. Down there on the bottom side. Christopherson finally has this lap, but Brewer not giving up down there on the bottom side. Once again coming there off the corner. Oh boy, Christopherson undercuts him coming there off of 2. Going to get a great run there off of the corner. Now Brewer, he's not going to have anything for him there. What a great move by that 51 as we had them side by side there for third. We'll have to see who takes third here. Looking like Chapman's going to take it. Oh, consolation or B main, LCQ, whatever you want to call it. Clay Christopherson there in first. Mike Brewer second. Zach Chapman third. Matt Barber there fourth. Dylan Kinsey fifth. Anthony Morano there sixth. Kurt Schatzer seventh. Chase Matsko eighth. John DeBye there in ninth. Brandon Dittmer in 10th. John Morano there in 11th. Bob DeGood in 12th. And Glenn Sharp not taking a grid there in the B main. We will be back here at Eldora in just a few moments. Please don't go anywhere as we're in for an exciting race.
dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us, we wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. In the hospital 8 months. It got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
All right, we're back here at the racetrack. Sam Buckman out there in front. Alex Pomerleau there in second. This is for your feature. Mason Hine will roll off third tonight in row number 2 with Randall Dixon at his outside. In row number 3, that's Trevor Guru in 5th with Dean Reynolds in 6th. Kelly Wheeler rolls off in 7th tonight with Jeff Barker in 8th. Stephen Bixler rolls off in 9th with Brian Moore in 10th. Joseph Grandy in 11th with Scott Riome rolling off in 12th tonight for the feature. Down here in 13th, that's going to be Clay Christopherson with Mike Brewer to his outside in 14th. Zach Chapman rolls off in 15th. Matt Barber there in 16th. Dylan Kinsey in 17th. Andy Morano there in 18th. Kurt Schatzer 19th. Chase Matsko there in 20th with John Dubai rolling off in 21st. Brandon Dittmer rolls off in 22nd tonight with John Morano in 23rd. And rounding out your 24-car field here tonight is going to be Bob DeGood. All right, here they go, rolling off pit road. Alex Pomerleau out front. Up there on the high side, you got that 007. Wait a moment. Sam Bachman's out front. Oh, boy. Don't seem quite right here. Oh, wait, yeah, it's right. It's just my Cali thing here on the other part of my screen's not right. As you see there with your grid there. We got 30 laps to distance. Pomerleau out front, Hine there second. You got Dixon there third. They come here out of 4. Green flag in the air. What a great start there on that upper line by Alex Pomerleau as they come down here through off of turn number 3. Or I'm sorry, turn number 2. 3 wide. Oh, 4 wide down here in the corner number 3. What a shot there as they're 4 wide coming through off of Eldora here. Up off of the straightaway, getting tight there. They keep it together. Coming down there in the corner number 1 once again. You got that 007 up there on the high side of Sam Bachman, I believe, if I got it correct, as he's out there in front. Not sure why it's showing him clear down in the standings. And everybody's rolling off through here. Everybody, lap 3 now of the 30 to complete. 3 wide, 4 wide action. Lots of action going on here in the feature. Kind of what we kind of figured. Down here through 3 and 4. Out there in front is Sam Bachman. Now it's showing up right as they come down here through off of turn number 1 and 2 once again. That 397 up there along the outside wall. That's Alex Pomerleau. And he's trying to keep it going. Here comes the 89 of Mason Hine. Bachman out front, followed by Trevor Guru. And everybody single file until you get back here. Look at that, folks. 3 wide, 4 wide action back there as you've got Dean Reynolds up there on the top side of the racetrack. Now he's got to try to figure out if he can get underneath the 513 of Jeff Barker as he now goes to the outside of that 111 of Randall Dixon. Down here off turn number 4. Everybody looking good. John Dubai, he has crashed, it looks like. No caution, no 25 laps to go for the feature event here at Eldora for the 358 modifieds. Then we'll move on to the big blocks. Out front, still Sam Bachman. As you see, Trevor Guru out there in second. Alex Promerlu there in fourth. That Kelly Wheeler's up to third, still battling it out here. As you see at 89 of Mason Hines, really trying to work up there. There you see the 011 of Randall Dixon working on the bottom side there of the 89 of Mason Hines. Coming there off the corner, 3 wide, 4 wide. Anthony Morano just trying to find a lane back here to try to work his way up towards the front, as he's got all kind of traffic everywhere. There's cars just all over the racetrack trying to find that line to get up there, as everybody's just trying to find a way to pass the driver in front of them. Contact there between the 51 of Chris Christopherson and Dean Reynolds there to 79 as that 513 up there on the top side of the racetrack. He's now getting up there in front, or on top of Randall Dixon, as Randall Dixon's down there on the inside in that 011. And they work on down through there. There you see Riome out, Matsko out, Chapman out. Down here off the corner number 2. As they still continue to roll. Sam Bachman out there in front. Trevor Guru there in second. Kelly Wheeler third. Alex Pomerleau there fourth. Mason Hine there in fifth. Randall Dixon down there on the inside. And look at the way these drivers are all over one another. As you see, Anthony Morano down there on the inside as he's trying to get somewhere. As they roll down here down the backstretch, 20 laps to go here in the feature event. As for the 358s. Down there along the inside wall, Trevor Guru out front. He's looking underneath the 007, but there's a lap machine. That's the 21 of John Dubai, and he is going a lap down here, and maybe another lap down. We'll have to see what the ticker says as they come around here. 19 laps to go in the feature event, as that 75 now uses the 21 as a pick, possibly. Cannot quite get there. He's going to battle again. Now that 21 is there, and oh no, the 07 kind of gets tagged there by the 75 as they roll down here through 3 and 4 at 21, making things a little difficult for the leaders as he is a lap down, working there, going another lap down possibly as they work here off of corner number 2. The 75T of Trevor Guru down there in second, as the 75 of Stephen Bix is back here working his way up in the 13th, as everybody just battling wherever they can. As Morano's stuck down there on the bottom side of the racetrack, everybody else is slowly working their way up to that cushion, up there against that outside wall. Now here comes Bachman. He finally gets a run and around that 21 as he disappears a moment. And here comes that 75T of Trevor Guru as he now goes down there to put the slide on him. He's going to come up there in second place as here comes that number 11 of Kelly Wheeler. He's going to look now to see if he can get around that 75T. Cannot quite do it as of yet. But battling side by side, and they come here off of 4. He's going to drop back at 397 of Alex Pomerleau. He got around that lap machine just fine as they roll down through here. Dean Reynolds there in 6th, plus he's got Mason Hine there in front of him off of 2. The 55 of Brian Moore sitting back there in 7th. Matt Barber there in 8th. Joseph Grandy there back in 9th. And Jeff Barker rounding out your top 10 as Randall Dixon's there in 11th. Trying to find his momentum and speed here tonight. Everybody's up there against that outside wall for the main traction up there along that outside cushion. Now you see them all as they come down through there. You can see everybody just single file up there around the top of the racetrack until you get back here to about 11 to 12 as Dixon now goes up to the top side of Barker as Barker's trying to fight his way to keep up in that position. Down there on the bottom side of the racetrack, but it's not going to work as that top side's starting to prevail here. Over top of that inside lane, keeping that momentum high. As look at that slick start to gain there in turn number 1 and 2 as they work down that backstretch. You can see the blackness start to gain on the entrance to the corners here. Up through in the 3, in the 4, off of 4 they go. As they come down that front stretch, Sam Bachman still your leader out front. As they got more lap cars up there. Trevor Guru, maybe not. Maybe my eyes were deceiving me there a moment. As these two drivers are going to start battling here, possibly by the end of this one. As look at this, everybody side by side. Great battles going on here in the feature race. No caution as of yet as they roll down the backstretch. There you see Kelly Wheeler in third. Trevor Guru there second. Sam Bachman still lead the race. Here's Mason Hine there in fifth. Dean Reynolds there in sixth. Brian Moore and all through the back. Here comes Anthony Morano trying to work his way up through the field and is struggling here tonight at Eldora as they come there out of two. Sam Bachman, your leader. Here comes that 75T of Trevor Guru. 7 laps to go and caution is out. John Dubai around. John Dubai down there on the inside of the racetrack. All the leaders are up top. So unsure exactly what happened. You see all that dirt just flying up out of there. And they all come up there. He's sliding up a little bit, trying to hold it down. Ends up in front, and he's going to end up getting put in the middle. 518 there, going on the bottom side. Comes up, just gets him a little loose. Then he comes up and into the 51, which sends him the rest of the way around. Right in front of that 00. Try to figure out who that was. See if we can figure out who that might have been. Not sure who he got into it with there. And roll here through turn 2. You'll see him. Here comes off. Trying to see. That's the 011. That is Randall Dixon. He ends up just nowhere to go. I thought that might have been who it was, but I wasn't quite positive on that. Just nowhere for Dixon to go in that situation. Green flag back out. Single file restart with 7 laps to go down here in the corner number 1. Sam Bachman out front. Trevor Guru there second. Kelly Wheeler in third. Alex Pomerleau there in fourth. Mason Hine fifth. Dean Reynolds there sixth. Matt Barber rolling up there now into 8th. Oh boy, there he goes. 55 of Brian Moore getting down in there and getting dirty with it. As there you see the 79 of Dean Reynolds falling back there behind Mason Hine. Still up front though. This battle rages for that lead as they come down there off the corner and out across the stripe. The 75, Trevor Guru, he's looking to the bottom side. He's going to slide it up. Here comes Sam Bachman now. He's going to go and do the crossover down the back stretch. He's going to bring it down there low in the turn number 3. He's going to let it slide up there out of the corner. Trevor Guru getting that run there off the top side. He's going to try it again. Slide down in there. Watch that 007. He's going to go and bring it down. He's going to cross over once again down here in corner number 3, bringing it low and letting it slide up, giving it a little bit of a slide job. But here comes Trevor Guru. He's going to have room now. He's going to try to slide it back underneath there and into corner number 1. 3 laps to go. These drivers are swapping positions back and forth up here at the front. Kelly Wheeler back here in third. He's just looking for one of the two of them to make a little mistake to get him up there into the next position. As caution is out. 3 laps to go here. Now we try to figure out what that caution was for. And not sure if that was it or not. See if we can get a better look here from the chopper view. Looking for drivers that are just somewhere out of sorts. See if the chopper can show us anything here. And I don't see anything. I'm not seeing anything there out of any of that. And you'll watch that 21 come to the end of pit road. That's that little yellow dot. Everybody else, all the rest of them seem to be in a line there. I don't see anything, so I'm going to guess it was probably brought out by John Dubai coming out of pit road is what that caution was for. Everybody single file. Sam Bachman, your leader. Lights around on that pace machine. We're going to be going green flag racing. 3 laps to go here at Eldora for the